Hi, good day to Dr. Lims. I'm ChongLingYeen. Today, I would like to present for Chapter 17. My question is about, suppose that you are considering the purchase of a bond issued by another country. What must you consider when calculating the expected return of your investment? Explains. From my point of view, we must consider the following factors. They are rate of return on the investment. That means how many percent of the returns we can get back from the investment. Is that 8%, 10%, or 12%? Secondly, we have to consider about the maturity period of the investment plans. Is it 3 years, 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years to mature? By knowing about the maturity periods, then we can using the periods to find out what is the value of the return after 10 years or after 5 years. That is what we call as time value of money. And of course, for this question is about the overseas bond purchasing the asset from the overseas. So if it is linked to overseas purchasing or investment, we have to consider about the nominal exchange rate and also the expected future nominal exchange rates. Let's go through what is nominal exchange rate and what is expected future nominal exchange rates. For nominal exchange rate, it is the price of the domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. If the nominal exchange rate between the Malaysian ringgit and the US dollar is 0.5, that means 1 Malaysian ringgit will be purchased on 0.25 US dollar. Hence, the nominal exchange rate defines the amount of foreign currencies that can be purchased for 1 unit of domestic currencies. Okay, now let's go through what is expected future nominal exchange rates. It is the rate at which currency exchange value is expected. When there is an increase in the expected future value of ringgit Malaysia, if let's say we compare it with respect to the US dollar, it will result in an appreciation of the ringgit Malaysia and a depreciation of the US dollar. On the other hand, if there is a decrease in the expected future value of Malaysian ringgits with respect to the US dollar, then it will result in a depreciation of the ringgit Malaysia and an appreciation of the US dollar. Okay, now assume that we are considering the purchase of 1,000 USD bonds issued by United States with below 3 different scenarios. For the below 3 scenarios, we assume that these 3 scenarios, these 3 plans have same returns on investment. That means their returns per annum will be the same. They are 10%. And the moment when purchase for the bond is 1,000. The moment when you purchase, the current nominal exchange rate is 0.25. Same for these 3 scenarios. Lastly, the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year for these 3 scenarios are different. For first scenario, the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.25. Second scenario is 0.3. And the third scenario is 0.2 for the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year. We assume that for this USD bond will be matured in 1 year. So in our next slide, we will calculate the returns after 1 year. Let's go through the first scenario. In first scenario, we expect that the nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.25. If let's say I invest 1,000 US bonds, the total payments that I need to pay is 4,000. How do I get this 4,000 ringgit Malaysia? I convert it using the nominal exchange rate. 1,000 times 1 over 0.25. So I have to pay 4,000 ringgit Malaysia to buy the 1,000 USD of the bond. Okay, what is my return after 1 year? If let's say from the scenario given, the rate of return is 10% per year. So after 1 year, I purchased 1,000. So after 1 year, I will get back the 10%. Then my total returns after 1 year should be in USD 1,100. This is in USD. The currency is in USD. I have to convert back this 1,100 USD to Malaysia ringgits. Convert back is by times with 1 over 0.25 because I assume that the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.25. It's same as when I buy the bonds 1 year before. So I convert back from USD 1,100 to Malaysia ringgit 4,400. Okay, now we compare the purchasing of this 4,000. If let's say I didn't buy the US bonds, I use this 4,000 to buy Malaysia bonds. And in Malaysia, same, I get back the 10% returns. So what is my return after 1 year if I buy 4,000 bonds in Malaysia? After 1 year, my return is 4,400. It's same comparing to US bonds. So in this scenario, I can either choose to buy US bond or to invest in Malaysia bonds because the return from both are the same. Let's go through the scenario number 2. In this scenario, I expect that the nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.3. All other factors are the same. The moment when I purchase the bonds, the nominal exchange rate is 0.25. So when I purchase the US bond, I pay 4,000 Malaysia ringgit to purchase that 1,000 USD bonds. After 1 year, I get 1,100 of the returns in total. Since my expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.3, then when I convert back this 1,100 USD to Malaysia ringgit, I have to times this 1 over 0.3 and I get back 3,666.67. Compare when I invest in Malaysia bonds, I can conclude that my investments in USD dollar for this US bond is lower. Okay, now let's look at scenario number 3. In this scenario number 3, the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year is 0.2. The other factors are the same. The only difference is the expected nominal exchange rate after 1 year. So I have to use the 1,100 times 1 over 0.2. Then I convert back to Malaysia ringgits, I get back 5,500. And we can see that it is higher compared to the return when I invest in Malaysia bonds. So if I'm the investor, for sure, I will invest in US bonds. Okay. Now I make a conclusions for these topics. When we plans to either invest in overseas or in local, we must consider the following factors: the nominal exchange rate, the expected future nominal exchange rates, the rate of return of the investments, maturity period of the investment plan, and also the time value of money. And with the above three scenarios that's indicated, we can see that the most important factors to determine the return is the expected future nominal exchange rates. Okay, that's all for my presentation for this topic. Thank you.